Welcome back to the Cycle Kart Workshop, everybody. Time for another update on the Club Kart. So, got a number of things to work on, so here we go. I have this rear cover as far as I'm going to take it. I added 3 additional coats or layers of just the epoxy, and I'm going to sand that to 180, 220, something like that. I'll sand the aluminum along with it. There's a few drips here, but it sure made a difference. This is a nice smooth transition now, and that'll look good in primer. Okay. And here's the grill piece where I did the repairs. That's where it worked out okay too. I've been working on sanding this rear cover and rear section here, and I've been through the first pass. Still have to do a little more sanding. Then I'll shoot some primer on it and see how it looks. Steve and I were talking about the exhaust pipe, the faux exhaust pipe. And he had mentioned that he had seen a guy on a video with some PVC pipe that he heated up with a heat gun and was able to bend it into some kind of a radius. So we're going to experiment. We picked up this piece of pipe here. It's 10 feet long, 1.5 inch diameter PVC pipe. And then this is some 1/4 inch plywood that we're using to create a pattern. And you can see how this black line and this here are the leather belts, so this would fit in between. And it's just propped up there at this point in time. Continuing on with this exhaust pipe, this faux pipe, I've trimmed these and coped them to fit pretty good against the round tube. And they're a little long. I'll cut them to length later. But I think initially I'm going to glue them in place with this clear silicone. This stuff will stick to anything. It takes about 6 hours to dry. Then after that I'll take some JB Weld. Steve had that idea. I'm going to try that because that's an epoxy that hardens up. And I'll put that all around, shape and sand it. Alright, so I've marked where they go. I'm going to put a bead of silicone around right over the black line and push the 2 pieces into it. Then later I'll trim away what's on the outside, but at least the silicone will be on the inside. So I put the clear silicone in there, let it dry overnight, and then with an X-Acto knife I trimmed away the excess, and they're on there pretty good. There's glue down in there. I sanded it, cleaned it up, and then I'm going to mix up some JB Weld to put, create a fillet here around here. And the nice thing about this is they say that it's sandable. You can tap it, file it, sand it, and drill it. So that's great. We'll shape that after it dries. That was a little bit messy putting on this JB Weld epoxy, but it should sand up okay. I'll let it sit 24 hours. The JB weld dried up overnight, and I put some 180 sandpaper to it, and it's shaping up real nice. These are on there nice and strong, so I'm happy with that. Just a little more hand sanding. I can't get in here with the sander. And this will be ready for its final prep and some paint. You can see how there's some clear silicone down in there as the foundation, and then the JB Weld epoxy helped firm it up, and I'm real happy with how strong it is. I've been sanding on this for a while. I hit it with 180, then 220, and now I'm using 320, and then I'll shoot some primer and see if the finish is good enough. I'm getting ready to put some primer on this, but I wanted to glue some plywood blocks. They're 3/4 thick. I used epoxy inside there so that when I install this plate, I can run a screw from behind into the wood block, and then this plate will get riveted to the side of the hood. I think that'll work. I managed to install the aluminum plate to the exhaust, and for the sake of mock-up I'm just using sheet metal screws, and then later we'll rivet it. But I needed to get it installed in the front there so that I could level it up, and I'm going to have an attachment point here and here, and hopefully that will be strong enough. Alright, so I've drilled a hole through the pipe and the body. I already have it put together here. I'm using, this is a 4-inch long 3/8/16 bolt. And then I have a 1-inch spacer. And then this is an aluminum washer. Oops. And an acorn nut. So I'll snug that up, and I think it should work. I'm going to make some kind of decorative faux heat shield that would go right here. We'll see. It might get captured by these nuts. Our goal is that this is nice and strong, because we're afraid people are going to put their hand on here getting in and out of the cart, which will probably be the case. So I may have to add another one back here. Okay, I'm happy with the mock-up of the exhaust pipe. We'll have to remove it to paint it, but it went together pretty good, and it's reasonably stout. So, alright, on to the intake side. Get that finished up. If you watched Steve's last update, you saw that I was working on this little intake port arrangement. So I finished that up, and I'm working on the grill a little bit. Let me show you that. It was a bit of a challenge, but I managed to cut out the center section, left a little bit of a lip so we can glue in the honeycomb. And you can see the lights in there that Steve has been working on. So the honeycomb fits in there pretty good. Here you can see on the front of this grill here is this X pattern with some aluminum, it looks like. So I've been working on it. I made a paper pattern of the whole space, then I drew some lines, transferred that after I cut it out in paper to poster board. So that's what's in there now is poster board. And then I'll trace that onto some 40 thousandths aluminum, and maybe I'll polish it for a nice chrome look. I thought I would put together a little faux heat shield. Took me about an hour. It's made out of 40 thousandths aluminum. And then I sanded it with 180, 220, and 320. And if I continue up to 600, I could put it to the buffing wheel and get a little bit of a shine out of it. So it'd have a somewhat of an antique chrome look. Okay, everybody, that wraps up this update. Go over to Steve's channel and check out his latest update. We're having a build day in 2 days on Sunday. He'll be filming that one. So like and subscribe, and we sure appreciate that you watch. See you next time.